You are now listening to the Hunter's Advantage podcast. We preserve the history and sport of hunting through curious conversation and action-packed hunts, as well as offering you tips and strategy for more successful hunts. The Hunter's Advantage podcast is powered by Out on a Limb Manufacturing. Out on a Limb is a family-owned company based right here in Oklahoma that makes tree stands, saddle platforms, climbing sticks, and so much more.
Christian, I have a quick question.
What's that?
What bites sound harder, a hippo or an alligator?
No idea.
It's a trick question. The Ridge Runner 2.0 bites harder than both of them. But all jokes aside, we use these products all across the land on public or private. These help us get into any tree we want and hunt where the deer actually are.
Most men go to the grocery store for their meat, but these products help you go to God's grocery store. I have used the Out on a Limb Ridge Runner 2.0 and the Shakar sticks for the last few years hunting public land bucks, and I've actually shot several bucks out of this setup. If you want to support the podcast and get some Out on a Limb equipment, make sure to go to outonalimbmfg.com and use code HNTA10 for 10% off at checkout. Once again, if you want to support the podcast, go to outonalimbmfg.com and use code HNTA10 at checkout for 10% off. Now let's get back to the podcast. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Hunter's Advantage podcast. This is round 2 of episode 196. We just recorded for 50 minutes earlier with Mason telling his entire story of his deer hunt, and then my battery pack died, shut off the recorder, and it recorded none of it. So that's always a really good day. But we're here at what?
You gotta hit the applause button.
Welcome back, Mason. Glad to have you, buddy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Applause for you. So we're at deer camp. Some of us are having a really, really good time.
Some of us.
Others are having a decent time, and then there's Carol, who's not having a time.
I'm having fun.
Well, yeah.
I had my best morning. What was it? Yesterday morning?
Yeah, when you slept in?
Yeah.
You did say at the end of the trip, ask me what my favorite day was, and it'll be Monday before I was here.
That's true. It's very true.
Well, Mason got a BBD down today. And
Big buck. Down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that he was thinking BBC, but
It says
same
BBD
thing.
down.
Yeah.
Big
So,
buck
it's the
down.
same thing.
it's just like saying a big giant.
I almost
It's
had a
a
freaking
big giant
aneurysm
buck.
trying to say that.
Yeah.
But
Well,
it's been a long week for you, I know.
before
Some people have jobs.
Mason has a BBD.
before we get into your story, let's get an update from the rest of the crew. Jake Payton, how's it going? How's your week going so far?
You got a cricket sound effect on that? That's about how
I
it's been
don't
going.
have that. I've got an applause. Which
What are you laughing at?
Something funny? At least get your microphone down if something's funny.
Is the way I'm sitting?
You talk, bro.
On God. Respectfully.
What do you mean it's the way I talk?
You got a cricket sound on that thing?
Dude, I think y'all two are on a wave, and I don't understand.
All right, continue.
Anyways.
All right, guys.
Anyways.
Is this better?
Hey, let me sum that phrase up. It's not going good, but it could be worse.
How could it be worse? There's 2 inches of water in our tent.
It could be 3 inches of water.
Hashtag blessed. Thank you, guys. All right, so thank you for the good update, guys. You've seen one doe all week between the two of you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
One doe. One
Must
big
be
doe.
getting serious for the rest of the trip.
You saw more this evening, though, than you've seen the whole trip.
Yeah.
Alrighty, then.
I'm afraid to talk right now because I'm getting judged, I guess, for the way I talk. I don't know if I have
No
a
one's
squeaky
judging
voice
you.
or
Will you quit doing that?
I just laughed because he said something funny.
Mason, quit laughing, dude. Seriously.
yeah, that's really disrespectful.
Oh,
You're in my tent.
Here, I'll talk for Jake. I went out earlier and saw a guy's tree stand. Decided, well, there's a tree stand here, so it's probably going to be looking pretty good. Walked another 100 yards, saw a giant buck with a doe, probably like 195 ish,
Minus 55.
minus 55.
Okay.
+2. And yeah, I think I'm gonna set up there tomorrow. Have high hopes. And so yeah, thumbs up or thumbs down. How'd I do?
Pretty bad.
That was
Not
pretty
at
much
all.
it.
In a nutshell, yes.
Okay. All right. Now let's move on to Sir Mason's story. So it was raining all day today, starting at about 9 a.m. Tell me about your hunt.
Oh
What-
no, Nate said it started at 5.
No, it was rain.
Did he? Oh, is that because he's sleeping in?
Yeah, little disclaimer. It was kind of sprinkling at like 5-ish this morning a little bit, and then Nate came in because I got back at about 8:30.
I got a text from Carol at 8:30 that said, "Hey, I'm fixing to leave. Y'all need me to do anything before I go?"
Yeah, the rain was the only reason I didn't grab my stuff and walk out to my truck and head out. But yeah, Nate told me this morning. He said, "Man, I got up about 5:30. I heard that rain pound in that camper." And I said, "Nope." And I was like, "It wasn't though."
It wasn't pounding.
Dude, trust me. If I went, anybody could have gone.
Yeah, so he's looking for a reason.
Yeah,
not to go.
Nate must have been tired. But sorry. Anyways, it's been raining all day. Mason, back to your BBD.
Yeah. Get us back,
BBDD.
get us
You
back
want
on the right track.
Play-by-play.
Yeah, well, yeah. Tell us about your morning.
So I went to the spot that
And-
I found on Onyx last
Pull,
night.
pull your mic down a little bit.
You can't hear me because I hear myself.
And when did Jordan give you the spot? By the way,
Last night, Jordan gave me a pin
Why didn't y'all just carpool out there?
because he wasn't hunting there.
Oh.
okay, go ahead. You were saying.
Anyways, I got on Onyx last night. Thought this spot looked pretty good. Decided I was going to go there this morning.
Sorry, we got an intruder.
And anyways, got on Onyx last night. Found the spot that I thought I looked good and I should try out.
Why did you think it looked good, and why did you think you should try it out?
It was just some rapid drop in elevation.
So a
And
nice
I've
little funnel.
noticed around here they kind of like to go up, cruise up and down those kind of things. And there was a nice bench on top of it. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to sit right on that bench. Well, I walk in this morning and I end up stopping pretty short of there at a more open area. Climbed up this tree with 1 foot on the climber.
Because there's only one.
Because Justin gave me a broke climber. And right at daylight or shooting light, I saw a doe with her head whipping it up and down. I was like, what is that? Because I can't see anything when it's dark. Finally figure out it's a doe. I'm watching her. I see a pretty good buck behind her, but I couldn't tell what he was.
This is right out the rip.
Yeah, this is probably 30 minutes after I got in the stand. Like as soon as I could start making stuff out. And he eventually comes out. They were underneath a little patch of trees. They come out walking like right towards me, but they're like 80 yards away. And I'm starting to get a look at the horns, but again, I'm pretty blind, and I still couldn't tell.
And
I
it's
could tell.
dark.
I could tell he was a good deer. I couldn't tell how good he was.
Do you think it's the same one that you shot?
Oh, 100%.
Okay.
Anyways, he comes out, and they piddle around right there where they came out of them trees.
How far are they at this point?
They're like 80 yards, like right
So
where I
in
see
your
them.
range.
No, not at all in my range. Not at all in my range. Eventually, they worked their way up to like 55, 60 yards right in front of me. And I drew back on the buck, actually, because I was like, I'm not getting another shot.
You didn't tell us that's the first round of the story.
Yeah, I forgot. I drew back on him, and I was shaking like no other. And he was like quartered away from me going up a hill. So either spine him or miss him. I was like, I'm shaking way too bad for this. So
Too far.
I let it down. He ends up turning around, follows the doe right back to where they started. And then they kind of came over to my right side a little at like 60 yards, but they were behind a pretty thick tree. And they were behind that tree for like 30 minutes. And I lost him. I thought they went over the backside of this drainage. And I hear something behind me after this, and it's a doe. Kind of see it. I gotta look over my shoulder, but I see a doe. Don't know if there's anything with her or not. But as soon as I see that doe, like a minute or two later, the first doe like blew at the doe that was under me or something. She blew at something.
Directly under you?
She was like 20 yards like right behind me.
Okay.
And that first doe and that buck ended up coming back, and that buck came in at like 30 yards. I didn't range it or anything. I just stood up when he was behind a tree, and I drew back. And when he came out from behind that tree, I didn't try to stop him or anything. I just stroked him. Initially, I thought that I made a pretty bad shot because I hit him in the shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
But after I got down, like almost immediately, because I was so pumped up, I kind of walked up to the shot area and didn't find any blood.
Because you called me and you said, you're like, yeah, I got like 3 inches of penetration.
Yeah, I was like, there's no way this deer's dead. Said a quick prayer. I was like, Jesus, please let this deer be dead.
Jesus, take the wheel.
And I didn't see any blood, so I walked back, grabbed my GoPro, and I'm trying to look at it, but I can't figure out how to zoom in on the video. And I realized I wasn't in the same spot that the deer was standing, so I walked back up there to where he was, and right where I shot him, I just found heaps and heaps of blood. And I was like,
Immediately,
like, he didn't even take a step, and there was blood. And I was like, okay, maybe this is better than I thought.
Mm-hmm. Well, in that case, it's like it's either heart or nothing with 3 inches of penetration like that.
Yeah. And I called you. I called you and you said just meet me in your truck. So I'm like, all right, pull up the Onyx. And
What is that?
It sounds like one of those big old space heaters.
Is that what that is?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think it is.
Who's
But,
running that? Them? Anyways, you were saying?
I don't know. I started kind of following my phone along the blood trail because it was relatively the same direction.
Nice for you to join us again, Carol.
It was relatively
He was
Okay.
asleep.
I wasn't asleep.
relatively the same direction as the blood trail towards my truck. So I kind of follow it, and I decided if I lose blood, I'll just go straight to my truck and wait on you. And I never lost blood, and I got to like 120 yards of tracking, and I look up and I saw him laying there on the other side of a little bit of brush. I walked up to him, and I was like, holy shit, this is a nice deer.
So there was some ground growage instead of shrinkage.
Was he bigger than you thought when you walked up to him?
He was a little bit bigger than I thought. Yeah, I didn't realize his main beams were that big.
Mm-hmm. So describe the deer when you walk up to him. You thought, hey, I just shot a nice 10-point, and you walk up to it and describe it.
I walk up and he's got a freaking 24-inch main beam, 22-inch main beam. What'd you say? 6 or 7 inch?
5.5, 6 inch eye guards.
Yeah,
18-inch spread.
nothing special about the G2s or anything, but
Mm-hmm.
other than that, it's my best deer. It's like, what'd you score it at? 144.
144 and 7/8, which is funny because Justin shot one like 2 weekends ago that was 144 and 0.8, and this one was 7/8 bigger, which is
Yeah.
pretty freaking awesome. Which your biggest deer before that was
It's
what, like 137,
Yeah.
and shot that with the rifle. So you just
Yeah, and that was like 6 to 8 years ago.
you beat your biggest bow buck. You started bow hunting like literally last year, pretty much seriously, and you beat your biggest bow buck by what, 40 inches?
Yeah, if not more. I'd come up here last year with the mindset that I just wanted to kill something, with my bow. I'd never killed anything.
Mm-hmm.
First or second day, I shot a doe, made a freaking perfect shot on her, and this little 10-point comes under me, and
This is the same sit?
next day.
Okay.
Next day, this little 10-point comes up under me, 2 of them, and I got the freaking. I thought he was way bigger than he was. I thought he was 120. He was like 100 inches, and
It happens when they're on a 110-pound body.
Yeah, that
though.
ain't no
yeah,
joke.
I was shaking so bad.
They look freaking huge.
I was shaking so bad. I made a horrible shot. I shot him through his back hips, both of them. Blew through both of them. He ran like 90 yards or 100 yards or whatever. But got my first killings done last year with bow.
You had a pretty good encounter last time you were here in October, did you not?
Yeah, actually, that spot you told me. I kind of went down there in that area you told me, and
Wait, what us? Me or Jake?
you talking about last time we were here?
In
Yeah,
October?
the nice buck that you almost shot?
Yeah,
The 10 or 12?
yeah. He told me that spot.
Well, hell, if I knew it was any good, I would have went there myself.
Which spot are we talking about here?
Don't be giving out good spots.
I didn't know I was. Well,
He said he never hunted there.
yeah, I did.
What, once?
I hunted there twice, but then just
Are you talking about
Justin and Jordan were over there.
The trail.
The place by the big sweet scrape?
Yes.
Yeah, so I sat there. Dude walks by me at 7 a.m. with his headlamp on, looking through the woods both ways. And
High beam.
Oh, yeah. Highest setting for sure on this headlamp.
Looked like a lighthouse.
Yeah, literally. Looked like I don't even know what, but I text my little brother Luke at like 9:38 or 9:39. He's like, I'm getting down at 9:45. I'm like, all right. Not even a minute later, I see this deer walk under me.
Did he come from the road or did he come like back?
I don't know if he come from the tree I sat in. There was a trail coming out of the woods to the road, like directly right next to me. I never seen him coming from the right. He either came from this trail right here to my right behind me or from the road. But I was on the edge of the road looking at
Back.
the other tree line, looking down the road and looking into where it opens up. But I was
So
texting
where
him.
it opens up is on your right hand side?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
I'm sitting like in that corner right where it all opens up on the right side
That's
of the
exactly. Was there like 2 scrapes down kind of below you?
road. I didn't even look.
Okay.
But I got on a tree like freaking
Oh, really?
huge tree. I had my climber on like the last setting. But that buck comes right under me. I didn't see it till he's right under me. I stood up after
Like literally underneath you?
like 2 feet in front of me.
Oh, yikes.
And I stood up after he got a couple feet over, so he didn't hear me or whatever, or see me. I stood up, let him walk a little bit more. He starts walking towards the wood line on the other side of the road. And I draw back. I didn't have time to range him or nothing. I'm like, all right, he's at 30. I put my 30 pin on him. I'm shaking real bad. And I go, man. And he just darted off. So that
You can't
was
be doing that on them public deer.
Oh, that's why I didn't do it today.
That's the universal sound of get the hell out of here. is
That's
when
why
they
I
go,
didn't do it today. I shot him while he was walking.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the only other buck I've seen here this year.
So you've seen 2 bucks and you killed one of them?
Yeah, both shooters, at least for me.
Was that one in October? You said earlier it was smaller than the one you shot today.
Yeah, but probably not by a whole lot.
Really?
My guess, like conservatively, was like 130 for that deer.
Really?
Yeah,
It's a good buck.
That's
I would
I
take
think it was a 12
20 inches smaller right now.
Oh, dude, a 125 right now.
No, I'm talking like 115, 110.
Oh, okay.
Oh. Yes.
I mean, I've shot 2 decent bucks this year. I mean,
Yeah.
that 6-point I shot is just so cool looking.
And mature.
Yeah, and then that the one I shot today, stud.
I would be very, very happy with a buck like that.
That's a framey sucker.
For sure, my best season.
Out of your 2
I mean, out of any other
deer season.
so, rifle or anything.
So do you have the bug now?
I mean, I've had the bug since I shot the 2 deer last year with the bow.
You have the public land bug though, right?
I mean, I hunt down here more than I hunt anywhere else, just
Yeah.
because. Don't have.
So, just kind of get in perspective, this would be your second year hunting public land, correct?
yeah, this would be my my second year getting to really hunt here.
Okay, so out of those 2 years, how many bucks have you seen, like just in general?
Okay, I probably saw 5 or 6 last year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I
How many days did you hunt? Quite a few.
not really, but 3 or 4 of them were like spikes.
Oh, okay.
Well, me and Carol were
I was talking
talking.
about like over 100 inches.
Oh no, even the 2 last year were like the same size. The one I shot. That's all I seen last year. I didn't see anything big last year, and then this year, I guess just the 2 were. I've only seen 2 shooters here, so
Yeah.
And you shot 2 of them? Shot at one
I
of
shot one, and that one I shot. If I had seen that one that I shot last year, this year, I would definitely wouldn't have shot it.
them?
Carol and I were talking yesterday, driving back to camp, on just like how you don't see many deer, but when you do see a deer, like there's a good chance of it being a good one.
Yeah.
And
There's a coin flip.
yeah, and we were talking about because like Carol Carol's kind of due for a good one, and obviously Jordan is too and stuff like that. But it's real easy to get like down in the dumps whenever you don't see one. But it's like I mean I've hunted here for I don't even know how many years, and I counted yesterday with Carol. I've only seen 10 bucks since I've been hunting down here, and
Good ones?
2 of them were spikes. 2 of them were spikes. 2 of them were less than 110 inches. 3 of them were less than probably 120 inches. And then, but out of those 10, there was that good one that I shot in the shoulder. I don't know what he would have really scored. And
140s at least.
the one back at the Boone. So I've only seen 2 really good deer, 140 plus, out of 10, and that's within I don't know 4 or 5 years of hunting here.
Oh, I take that back. One year I did come here and saw a really big one.
Mm-hmm.
And
Oh yeah,
yeah, and I was
snoozing.
snoozing.
I forgot about that.
Yeah,
But that was a different caliber of animal.
dude, that was a freak.
Explain that one.
It's super tall, super wide. Me and Justin.
Super, super wide's an understatement.
Yeah,
I mean,
that-
we're talking 25, 26 inches wide.
I think wider
That
than
that wide?
I think wider than that.
Really?
Justin thinks it's like what 190 incher.
I don't know. It was. I'm telling you, the thing is, it's what the widest deer I've ever seen.
I
And
thought.
I've-
Was it an 8? Was it a mainframe 8?
Yeah.
At 100 and like legit 180, 190 incher as an 8.
I don't know if it would have
That's what
scored that
Justin
good.
said, but
I don't think it would have scored that good, but I'm telling you, it's probably close to 27 inches
Oh
wide.
my god.
Every bit as wide as. It's the widest deer I've ever seen
Yeah.
a picture of, and I've
When,
seen
when,
some.
when
that
they
are-
got
showed,
pictures
when they
of
showed
it?
us the pictures, I was like,
Justin
you're,
does.
you're full of it. Like that's not real.
Well, when
He's
they
like, "I swear."
described the deer, I was like,
Yeah.
no. And then he was like, oh no, I got a trail cam picture of it. I was like, it looks like you took the horns and just went, and just took him. Was he that wide?
it's huge. Like there's some shit you can't even imagine.
How
Like trying to imagine it, you're not even imagining how big that deer was.
how long
I'm,
did that
I'm
take you to
fortunate
get over?
that we.
Well, how long?
Still not over it.
No,
Yeah.
I'm not.
I was-
I come here waiting to see something close to that, which today was my biggest deer, and it wasn't even close to that.
Dude, if you wouldn't have shot you would have killed a bigger deer than me. I've just now killed a 150 after bow hunting for like over a decade, and you've hunted for 2 years and shot a 144. Like
Some people's got it.
you've got it going on right now. You've got
Yeah.
the right idea. Not that score like matters like that, but holy frick,
It helps.
it's a representation. Like a 144-inch 10 is a freaking very very big deer.
Yeah, he was a stud,
A frame.
I just can't get
I
over those
wanted
main
to-
beams.
dude. That's freaking gnarly.
Main beams and eye guards.
Imagine how. I know it's only 2 inches, but 2 more like
Hey, 2 inches is a
symmetrical.
lot.
Yeah, symmetrical main beams.
It
Dude, that
is.
thing would look freaky.
Oh, with 24s? Well, you can usually judge it. People say when you see a beam that equals the nose length on like an average sized deer, it's about 25. These deer have a lot smaller heads. And so it's past the nose, but it's 24. It was like 24 and 2/8, which Justin said his Kansas buck, which is 23 inches wide, 24 inches wide, he said his beams were only 24. So that's technically, I think that's the longest beam that we've ever seen on a deer around here, which is pretty freaking incredible. Which Justin's 165 had 23-inch on one side, which was insane.
Mine had 23.
3 probably.
Continue. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I'm
wanna-
just pulling it up because I'm genuinely
yeah,
curious.
I want to talk about that wide one some more. Can you tell the story of what happened on that one? Not to rub it in, but you killed the 144, so it got to hurt a little less right now.
Do it
Yeah,
while you're on
so-
a high, buddy, because it doesn't last for very long.
Yeah, you won't be able to talk more about it any later.
Me and Justin are on a hunt that I went on,
Yeah.
and he's sitting on one side of the tree. I'm sitting on the other, and I've got my rifle.
This is when.
It's
This
youth
is-
rifle season.
Yeah, this is a youth rifle. I was like, no, I was 16 because it was the last year I could have done it
Uh-huh.
because I'm not youth anymore. But I guess he's tapping on me.
Identical.
I'm not waking up, and he finally wakes me up, and I had freaking wrapped my my sling around my climber so I wouldn't like knock it
Drop
off
your
while I
gun.
was asleep. Fucking idiot. But he wakes me up. I'm like, huh? I turn around and I see this mother just walking over the top of this hill, just walking, and I'm like fumbling trying to get my gun off of the climber, and I'm like looking at it in the process, and I just watch him walk away right over this hill, and then I shot like 110 incher.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that'd make you sick.
Were you sad about the 110 incher?
No, I mean that was one of the nicer deer for me at the time.
Yeah, but you just watched.
But still, I watched probably the biggest deer in my life walk away from me.
Justin said he was hitting your legs and like pulling on your pant legs, and you were like not waking up.
I was slumped. These hills get the best of you.
At any point were you thinking, hey, let's get down and let's see if we can catch this deer? Like,
Cut it off.
yeah, cut it off or
No,
'Cause
maybe he was. I mean, I never really got that serious into hunting until
Well, you're probably like 12.
recent. Well, I was 16, but
Oh, you were 16 when that happened?
yeah.
Oh. No
And
excuses.
I didn't get really that serious into it until like last year.
and then you look back at that and you're just like, oh,
I look
what
back,
I,
if-
what I
if-
had in front of me, I didn't even know. You probably didn't even realize like how spectacular.
Yeah, if that was to happen to me, well, that wouldn't happen to me because I wouldn't put myself in that situation to where I wouldn't at least have an opportunity.
Like you wouldn't wake up. You just keep sleeping through it if one like that. went by.
Yes.
No, I don't sleep in a tree stand anymore. Hardly ever. If I do fall asleep, it's for like legit like 2 minutes.
Can you help Carol? Not
You
do
fall
that.
asleep hard.
I don't fall asleep ever since I've been in the
Not
saddle.
in the
I've
saddle.
I was gonna say,
Never, I don't. There is no fall
Ever
asleep
since
in the
I-
saddle.
join the military, I can take like a 2-minute nap,
And feel incredible.
and I can still like, I'm conscious of everything that's going on around me. Like if I hear something, I'll literally just turn and look, dead out of my sleep. But
You can sleep in a saddle, by the way. I did it the other day on my recurve hunt. I let out my. First of all, you questioned me on if you were able to dump out of a saddle, which you can. You tried that, didn't you?
I have twice.
And was I lying?
No.
Okay, so believe me when I say this. I let out the entire tether, and I got down and I put my feet on the bottom peg of my fourth stick, and I sat on my platform like this, like sat on it, like where your feet would go. I took my lineman's, went around the tree,
You did not.
cinched it all the way down, and had my tether still on my bridge, cinched it up where I couldn't move an inch off of the tree. I was
Yeah.
cinched in twice, and I put my arms around the tree, and there was a V in the tree, so I rested my head in the tree, and I woke up. I promise you, it was like over an hour later. My feet were the numbest I've ever felt them, and I tried to get them, and I was like clown feet, like ugh.
that's like that time Nana fell asleep and
Yeah.
broke her arm on the toilet.
Yeah. No, but I went to put my foot on the platform after that, and it was so numb that I had to like push it into the platform to feel like it was on there. Like I saw it on there, but I didn't believe it. And I was like, ugh. And I promise you, it took 30 minutes for my feet to come back completely numb. So you can sleep, and it's actually fairly safe, I would
It's
argue.
not recommended.
Yeah, just not recommended. In a climber, you can absolutely sleep.
Oh yeah.
Bad.
Well, I wouldn't do it in the. What do we have? Vipers.
Yeah, I don't have one
Dude,
anymore, but yeah,
The Viper is literally. I've been hunting in the Goliath.
Mhm.
The last couple times I've been hunted in the Viper today. For one, it had 1 foot thing on
The
it.
Summits? You're talking about the Summit Vipers?
Yes.
Man, I have a Summit.
You
Viper.
can sleep in it, but after being in a Goliath and how roomy that thing is compared to the Viper, I got in that thing today and I felt like Mr. Incredible getting in his car.
That's kind of a good analogy.
I was like, holy shit, what is this? And I didn't even climb up as high as I could just because that foot thing.
because you were too comfortable,
No, because of the foot thing. And I wasn't comfortable.
and you were in your Vans. You hunted in your Vans this morning.
That's right. Had the old skate highs on.
I've been using the new Exodus Rival cell camera for the last couple months, and I have found a beautiful mainframe 8-point with tons of stickers to go after this fall. One thing I do appreciate about Exodus trail cameras is all of the cameras share the same data plan, so you only pay for what you need. A lot of cell cam companies charge you for HD pictures. I've seen prices of $5 for 50 HD pics. Exodus is going to give you unlimited HD pictures right to your phone which is awesome when you're sitting there in the middle of the summer and it's 100 degrees and you just want to binge a bunch of trail cam photos.
If you're looking for a solid cell camera with great performance and a 5-year no BS warranty, go check them out. So as we all know, hunting gear is something people can make way too complicated. Arrows can be the exact same way. Instead of going down all those rabbit holes trying to sift through the endless information that's online and you're not really sure if it's right or wrong, Exodus makes it simple to get the right arrow for your exact setup.
So go online to the Exodus Arrow Builder. It takes less than a minute. You're going to enter your draw weight, your draw length, and how heavy of a point you're shooting. And it's going to be that simple. Let the guys at Exodus take care of the rest.
So if you're interested in Exodus Rival cell cameras or a new set of their MMT arrows, just go to exodusoutdoorgear.com and use code HA15 for 15% off anything on their website.
Once again, that is exodusoutdoorgear.com. Use code HA15 at checkout for 15% off. Now let's get back to the podcast. Looking like Luigi out there.
Well,
hunting.
the number one reason why I hunted where I hunted today and why I wore what I wore today. Last night I'm talking to Justin, show him this spot on Onyx. No pins by it, by the way, on my phone.
Yeah, except for Jordan. But yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry, Jordan. But I was joking around last night. I'm like, I think more of my Vans hunting tomorrow, Justin.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, don't do that. There's snakes around here. I was like, dude, they can't bite me. Did you guys hear this conversation last night?
No, where was that at the campfire?
It might have been at the campfire in the
or was that in the meat wagon when
Might
you
have
guys
been
were
in the
double
old
stacked?
meat wagon. But
What's that poking me?
I'm a big out of spite guy.
Oh, okay.
So I wore him out of spite, and he goes, last night I showed him that pin, and he goes, man, you should probably scout it out first before you go hunt it.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I've hunted every other pin I've got here.
Yeah.
And so I ended up going there this morning. Coincidentally, as I'm going down this road, we're looking real familiar to a spot that Jordan's got a camera out. But it was too late in the morning for me to turn around.
Yeah, you gotta get the climber on your back. You're walking.
I had the climber on my
"This
back.
Gonna work.
Well, I knew on the road that I was getting close, but I couldn't tell because my headlights are literally ass.
Mm-hmm.
But I couldn't tell. I'm like, dude, this has got to be close to Jordan. And that's another reason why I didn't keep walking, because I stopped like 200 yards away from where I had pinned.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I got to be close to Jordan. As I'm going in there, I'm thinking this. And this morning, I'm kind of like, I kind of want to stay in this less dense vegetation area. But I'm walking in, and I'm like, yeah, this is close to Jordan's stuff.
Stop right here.
Yeah, I stop in this open area, and I sent Jordan the pin later on today, and he said it was 60 yards from his camera, so I probably just shot his deer. And I feel bad, Jordan. Hopefully you're listening to this. But, yeah, those are the main two reasons why I wore Vans and hunted in that spot.
Well, man, I'll keep telling you can't do something because maybe you'll go. You can't shoot a booner.
That's what I told Jake earlier. I was like, I'm telling you to do this stuff, and you're not doing it. So maybe you should just go do it.
I mean, exactly. Yeah, that's a pretty incredible hunt. I mean, we literally got out of we started to drag this deer out at like 9 o'clock in the morning. We get it gutted, and it immediately starts raining about as hard as you could possibly.
It was like a good old Louisiana rainstorm.
Well,
God.
and what, you got a spider over there?
No, it's absolutely.
You got a puddle?
Yeah, no, it's something's leaking or something. I don't know. I don't know if this was. It's absolutely drenched right here.
Oh no, I got a entire puddle.
Mine didn't fall though, so I'm kind of wondering.
I don't know.
Condensation.
Probably.
Yeah, we're
Sucks.
it's getting pretty wet up in here.
Anyway, sorry.
If I don't say so myself. No, it started raining, and there was a mass exodus out of the deer woods. Everybody started driving off, but you and I, we did
We followed 2 or 3 people out.
Yeah, followed 2 or 3 people out. But when we were carrying the deer out, we did a podcast a few months ago about like public land pack out methods.
Oh yeah.
We did the old over the shoulder. Mason took the gutted part of the deer, and I took the horns over my shoulder. And we walked it out probably 300 yards, and It was wet. We were side hilling the entire time, and we almost fell several times, but we got that sucker out.
How'd you feel about like not ranging the deer before you drew back?
I mean,
You just got it like that?
It wasn't like a
I
split second decision where you're like, I have to shoot now or else. Like
No.
that in that video I seen that deer seemed pretty calm. So like
He
what
was.
was the decision to just draw
I
back?
knew he was somewhere close to 30 yards, and if I shot him with my 30, I'd be killing him if I hit him where I wanted to on the left and right. Rather is up and down. I was pretty comfortable. That doesn't make sense, but I knew he was around 30 yards, and I didn't want to take the chance of pulling my rangefinder up and him
Getting
seeing my
busted.
hand or something because I don't wear gloves. And my rangefinder was super foggy and dirty anyway, so I was like, dude, I'm not even going to bother with this. He looks like he's at like 30 yards. I mean, I guess the range on that first buck I saw that I drew back on a couple weeks ago or whenever it was, and I guessed 30 yards, and he was standing at exactly 30 yards
Okay.
after he left, so...
It definitely helps to be able to field judge.
Yeah,
stuff like
I mean,
that.
I won't always do that, but
I mean, if you have time, of course not. But
yeah.
there's there's a lot of instances where you're like, okay, I need to shoot this deer right now. Is that 18
And
or
I
is
feel
it
like
30?
I feel like 20 to 30 really isn't that big of a difference.
So
But
that-
you go past 30, I feel like that's when it really, really matters
Yeah.
to me,
See,
at least.
That's what I have a problem. Not with the way you do it, but like it's a mental block for me where I'm like, I need to know the exact yardage
Yeah,
because just in case it's like a human error where I'm going to be off maybe 1 or 2 inches, I don't need my human error stacked on top of me already being off, and so like I get caught in a lot of situations where I have to range find, and then by the time I get a range and stuff, it's like already kind of too late, and he's either walking out of my life or he got himself behind some brush.
Do you guys range them under 30?
So
times?
what I do, first thing I do if I always hunt a new spot, I pick out trees.
That's
What's
a-
that tree at? I pick out 4 corners. Say behind me, what's that tree at? 18. All right, what's that tree at? 35. If he's within that, I know he's at 35. But another point that we have now is, especially you and I, is we have to range because our arrows are so heavy now that we were shooting yesterday and we were talking like I was shooting a little like an inch high or an inch low, and it's like, well, we're not at 30, we're at 29. It's like, does it do that? It's like, yeah, it does, because our arrows are so heavy now, that I've caught on to that. I've really harped on myself this year. I will have to range and I will have to be on the dot because every yard matters when you're shooting that heavy of an arrow that we do.
And I don't know if I'm a fan of that. Like, I mean, granted, you shoot a heavy arrow to be able to, it's kind of like a insurance policy.
It is, yeah.
But
But here's the thing. There's, in my opinion, there's people that range and there's people that don't. Like
Right.
under 30 yards. Like it shooting a heavy. If you're already one of the people that range, it doesn't matter if you're shooting a heavy arrow
that's
because you're gonna do it anyways. Like if I have a deer under 30, I never range. If I'm like, I
Well, I mean,
always
it's
say that's
situational
close
too.
enough.
Same.
Yeah,
I want to, yeah, because
I'm trying to think the last time I ranged a deer.
I haven't ranged a deer. I tried to range him this morning, but it was like when he first popped out. But
No,
do you not hear it?
no, you're good.
I tried to range him this morning when he first popped out, but it was so blurry and like pretty dark out still, and I was shaking so bad. And there was like a group of trees before me, and then there was trees right where he was at, and I was just shaking. I was like, I can't even tell how far he is.
Well, go ahead.
I think a big thing that's helped me out with this year, I used to get the shakes really bad, and I think the biggest factor is having the camera. Because
It's something else to
having
deal
the
with.
camera,
That's-
dude, yeah. When you have a camera in your hand, you're like, I don't have time to get nervous. I don't have time to shake. I don't have time to think about this. Because first of all, like you said, I've got a range. I'm going to make sure, like, hey, I think he's at this, but it take half a second. Range, pop. All right, 26. If he walks another yard or walks another, it doesn't matter. I'm going to put it, he ain't going to jump, right? So with especially having the camera, because I can't just leave my camera on. So I'm like, where's he going to come out? Because especially on public land, we're like, dude, we don't know where they're going to come out.
Yeah.
You got a range, you got a camera, you got to point the camera, you got to make sure they're in frame. And don't get me wrong, I'm not going to cost a deer doing this, but like with that camera, I don't have time to get nervous.
I've said that before on earlier podcasts. Like, when I don't shoot or when I don't bring the camera, that's when I've found that I've got like the most nervous, like kind of like that buck last year where I shot over the back.
Yeah.
I didn't have the camera set up yet, and so
Right.
I just had all that time to just look at them and then try to range them and do all that stuff with the cameras set up and all that. It's like, okay, get it on them, try to turn the GoPro on as well, like try to get 2 angles, and then make sure it's kind of framed up, and then by the time you grab your bow and like start to draw back, you're like, this is actually happening. Like,
Go time.
Yep.
I didn't think the last 3 steps, like I was going to get this far. And then now that we're here, it's like, oh, wow. Like I'm just as surprised as nervous right now.
This morning I hit play on the GoPro and like I was still shaking a little bit, but I don't know if it was because I was watching him for almost an hour and got most of the shakes
Yeah,
out.
see,
or
now
not.
that would make me terrified.
That's
'cause
worst
I've
case
never,
scenario.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've never had a buck just somewhat just stick around, and it's just always like, oh, they're coming, here we go.
Yeah,
And man, it happens so fast.
yeah. When
it happens so
when he
fast.
came back over that little drainage, I was like, holy shit! And when he got behind a tree, I stood up, hit play on the GoPro, and then at that time he was about to walk behind another one. Waited till he was right behind it, draw back, and I wasn't hardly shaking at all. And I think if I was shaking, I would have hit him, but I would have not made a good shot at all on that deer. So I feel like the camera does help though.
I think it definitely does. It's like it's like a task. You're like, okay, I see the deer. I got 3 steps though before I can shoot.
I only have the
Yeah.
GoPro though, so I just have to hit play. You guys got all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, hunting out of a climber is like you have, what would it be like, 270 angle?
probably less than that.
You have about
180.
I mean, you can turn
80,
around.
180 degrees somewhere in there. The saddle, you can shoot anywhere, but we're right-handed, so straight back behind all the way. We have a 90 degree of this is perfect, and then the rest is kind of like I can make it work.
Right.
But yeah, out of the saddle, I've caught myself. I've seen a lot of doe. If I see a deer, I always set myself up of like how it's going to work. But yeah, hunting with the saddle, hunting with the camera, and all that at the same time, you're like, I don't have time. I don't have time to get nervous. I don't have time to think about it. It's just like, all right, here he is. What's he at? Camera on? Is he in camera? Great. Stop him. Shoot.
I honestly think that's one of the reasons I do not range a lot of deer under 30 yards though, is because like I grab the
time.
camera. I grab the camera. Like if I call it like handcuffing you. If a deer it happens a lot here where you don't see a deer and then they pop up and they're like 30 yards away.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh,
That's what that doe
frick.
did the other night to me. The only deer I've seen this whole trip. It was like at last light, and I'm sitting here scanning the whole time, and all of a sudden I hear something straight, like damn near straight below me, and it's a doe, and I'm like, oh wow,
They pop out of nowhere.
yeah,
But that's the thing with the ranging thing is like my first move always is to the camera. Like my right hand goes to the camera before I grab my bow. I usually try to do them at about the same time, but I'm getting my one hand on the bow, one hand on the camera, and I record, and then I try to hit my GoPro. And by that time, if they're already at 30 and closing, I'm like, close enough.
Yeah.
I have this window. It's like 30 and in, I'm like close enough. And in 2021, when I shot that 8-point that came in, he was at like 29 yards, and I shot him with my 20, and it was almost bad. It was almost bad. It was really low. But
that's just what's so difficult though, because like if you get on a hill or something like that, it's like it could be 20, it could be 35. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Just because of the I don't know if the right word's like depth perception or whatever, but it feels off whenever you're like looking down a hill.
Well, it's like when
sometimes.
you're shooting at tack and your
true.
your rangefinder doesn't have angle compensation, so you shoot and you're 3 inches high.
I
and
got
you're like,
pissed off about that.
Yeah, but angle compensation. Coop and I talked about this I think it was a few months ago. The angle compensation at tack is more extreme at tack than it would be like here
15
and
feet
stuff.
up in a-
but like
in a
angle
tree.
compensation is like for people that are hunting like mountain goats and like mule deer and stuff like
Well-
that, where it's like, okay, he's 50 yards, but he's
30,
50 yards lower
35
too.
degrees. Yeah.
That's not for like. But I understand what you're saying with the depth perception of.
Yeah, well, I was just talking about like the human side of it, where it's just
Yeah.
like I don't know. It looks like it's 20, but it could be 35.
Yeah, no,
That
I'm the
was
same
how
way.
it was to me.
I have
this morning.
I have a string on my rangefinder, so it hangs on my neck to where I'm just like, pop. All right, we're good. I don't have to like open up because I know a lot of people wear the bino things. I think you have yours in your bino things. I don't even carry my binos because last thing I want to do is I don't want to be like jerking stuff around trying to pull them out because some of those bino harnesses are pretty
It's
tight.
not a big deal when you're bow hunting either for binos. You're like, if he's not close enough for I can see him with my eyes, he's not close enough.
Yeah. So yeah, a lot of people put the rangefinder in those bino harness, and luckily I've just got the string around mine, so I just pull mine up, and I'm like, all right. But the main thing I do is when I get in there, I mark trees of like, all right, if he's inside this, he's inside 30.
That's
you
a
know?
good. Yeah, that's a good.
If
practice.
he's further than that, he's not with inside 30. So
Yeah, that's a good practice. I think it also helps when you've seen, like, in the beginning of the year, I don't think I could judge a deer very well. But when I've seen one walk by and I know how big they are relative to how far away they are,
yeah, that's
helps.
the hardest thing. Is like, especially out on the lease, when we go and we have those little fawn, I'm like, man, she looks like she's 30 yards away, but she's 15. And then
Right.
you got that big buck and you're like 20. And it's like, no, 28. And you're like, oh my goodness, what is going on?
Well, the other day when I shot that buck on the lease on the ground, he was 17 yards and I was like 23. And he was like 7. Like, he was really close. And I was like, he's so big, he can't be that far away. Like, he has to be a little further away. No, he wasn't. He was a lot closer than that. But yeah, the range finding toptic's an interesting one.
I don't even own a rangefinder.
You actually don't?
I use, thank God Justin's tagged out. I say thank God, but I don't even use it. I carry Justin's.
Did you have it today?
Yeah, I had it around my neck, but I was, like Peyton said, I usually try to pick a couple trees or something that's like easily distinguishable and get a range on it.
Did you range the tree where your buck stood today?
No.
Because it was you could have easily, after you shot him.
Well,
Did you step it off?
I went, the only time I range find today is I looked at a spot where I thought he was going to walk after I first saw him, and I was shaking so bad I couldn't get it. And I tried to range find where he come out, and I was shaking so bad I couldn't get it. So I just dropped it and never touched it again.
That's how you know you got the bug if you can't even range find a spot where he's coming.
I'm not kidding you. I look like I had
Parkinson's?
cerebral palsy.
One of my favorite comedians on Kill Tony has cerebral palsy, and he's hilarious. He's a monster. Yeah.
No, that's no disrespect. That's how I looked.
It was an analogy, and I got it. I got it.
But usually I don't even use it.
So?
The only reason I pulled it out is if I was going to have to make that shot, because it was like 55 yards is what I'm pretty sure where I thought he was going to go, but he didn't end up going there.
The first time he told us a story, he didn't even tell us he drew back on him the first time.
Oh, this was at a different side.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
hilarious.
But still.
Or he said,
I don't even know if that was for sure 55 yards where I drew back. I was like,
do you have a 50-yard pin?
yeah, I have 50, and I have 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 is my last one.
There you go.
And I've never shot my bow at 60, and I've shot my bow at 50 like 4 times. Like 4 shots.
I mean, most 90% of your shots are under 40. I think I've shot over 40 like once or twice ever.
So, what's everybody's game plan for the rest of the week?
Mason, what are you cooking us?
I'm either going to guide,
guide
quote
what?
unquote, quote unquote, go sit with Nate or somebody, or shoot does, or just hang out at camp.
I've been enjoying hanging out at camp.
Oh, I can do it now. Tagged out on bucks. I can shoot does all rest of the season. I ain't no rush for that.
I kind of need my doe tags for the lease. I feel bad. We've only shot one doe at the lease the last like 3 years, and I'm like, that's not good. We've shot like $5. I'm like, that's not wise.
I'll come shoot some for you.
We need like probably 7 shot, and I plan on putting 3 down there. So I'm saving a couple some doe tags for that, and then we're gonna go do an epic doe hunt at Jesse's in January. So I got to save some for that too.
Do you think he'd be kind enough to let me hit a call book up?
Dude, maybe.
I'm not kidding. I'm down bad.
Jesse's one of the guys. He inventories at the end of the year, and he's like, "Well, it'd be nice to kill this one too." So he might.
I mean, Jesse, if you're listening to this, hit me up.
Yeah, he's got two friends right now.
Did I tell you? I told you guys that I put another arrow in my bow and almost shot the doe that the buck was with.
Oh,
the
really?
one that he was
Yeah,
running?
I got it in the video. It's like,
Did she stick around after
Yeah,
you shot?
she was there for like a minute, I would say, like probably 35, 40 yards. I put another arrow in. I was like, I'm going to shoot this. And then I got to thinking, I was like, we're probably going to have to track my buck for a while, so I don't want to deal with this doe.
Better not.
So I pulled the arrow back out, put it in my quiver, and then I crawled down.
It seems like you only get your best shots at does right after you shoot a buck, and they're like, "All right, I'll hang out now," and that's my best opportunities at
Aren't
does.
you gonna
all the
chase
time.
me?
The
Yeah,
one doe I've shot with a buck, I freaking smoked, and she ran like 60 yards.
hammered.
Yeah, the first deer I ever shot with a bow.
Heck yeah.
BDD.
She was quartered away from me at like 32, 33 yards. She walked straight at me. I was shaking at this one. Walked straight at me from like 175 yards out, literally beeline straight towards me.
It was meant to be.
Yeah, and I stood up and put my bow sideways and like had the cam in front of my face or whatever. Just trying to hide my face because I got a white ass face. And she was looking at me.
As we all do.
Like the last 60, 70 yards she was walking in, she was just looking at me, walking right up. Walks up to the feeder, turns around, walks back the other direction, and I just let it eat.
What up?
Are you going to do a podcast?
Yeah.
Spaghetti?
Oh, you guys got spaghetti?
Yeah.
Hey, we'll wrap it up here in a minute then. No worries. But we're going to do a podcast. The News on 6 wants a story from Mason's buck.
Anybody got 2 inch ball in that track?
Yeah, I do. You need it?
Somebody will.
For what?
Leaving my shit down there. Done.
You're coming home?
No.
Oh.
Put it on News on 6. I'll never be back. Someone got a 2 inch ball.
There we go. Shoot, what we're talking about. Okay. Me and Mason. I'm leaving in the morning to go hunt Texas. That's my update. I need to go shoot my rifle in the morning. And I don't know if there's any good deer where I'm going, but I'm definitely going to shoot some does because I've been eating backstrap like legit 3 times a week, like just cooking up a couple sear and backstrap in the cast iron. And dude, it is salt and pepper, super rare. It's incredible.
Is it busting?
Dude, it's incredible. I didn't know it could be that good with such simple ingredients. But so I'm going to shoot as many does as I can on this rifle hunt. But hopefully another buck. What about you guys? What's your plan for the rest of the week?
I mean, Carol told you my nutshell. And if I don't see a deer there tomorrow morning or tomorrow evening, I'm going to be kind of upset because then that'll be 5 full days of hunting and then not seeing.
What sucks is the first 3 days
They were pretty
so
windy.
abnormally windy and hot that it's like you don't burn yourself out, but you burn your enthusiastic days on terrible hunts.
Yeah.
Like your momentum doesn't build; it stays high, falls off, and then you're always trying to build it back, and that's a tough place to be.
We've only slept in one morning, so I mean, out of 10 possible sits, I mean, we've been out there 9.
Well, I mean, we it's not like we haven't hunted. We've hunted like Christian said. It was just one of those things that it's tough. It's tough to hunt out here. It's long. They're long days, but especially when you go out there, it's almost like you're not you look back and you're like, to a sense of like, well, those were just terrible days that they just felt like wasted days while we were here because we're here. This is the time that we are allotted to hunt here, and the weather, the wind, temperature was just horrible.
Well,
we did it.
Christian said it best. Like, I think we need to stop doing it like planning to come down here on a certain day and just kind of
Be flexible.
be very flexible, which I feel like we all are. And we just need to be like, hey, there's a cold front coming in. What do y'all think about this? And then go from there.
Right, you're planning on coming in the 5th, and then, hey, there's a cold front actually on the 7th through the 11th. Let's hunt that instead.
Yeah.
That might be a Thursday through a Wednesday.
That'd be just fine.
Is still the same amount of time. But I think that's what we do is just, if there's one thing I've learned this year more than ever is like when to be like, okay, I'm going to go hard right now. And I thought about it. The 3 deer that I've killed have been on 3 cold fronts in October. Opening day was a cold front. The recurve buck I shot was a cold front. And there was a big cold front when I shot the 7x5. None of those deer came on and then I hunted a few days with my recurve on the warm days. And I don't want to, the movement was like, I went from I shot a good buck in there the opening day to I legit was struggled to see a couple does.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, you can take a lightning spot, and if it's not good weather, it'll turn into a turd. Just
I mean,
like
it was
anywhere
hot.
else.
It was like 84, 88 degrees those days and
it was
windy.
horrible.
Exactly. Yeah.
So tomorrow's supposed to be the coldest day, and
And the rain stopped.
the rain did stop. It sounds like it's stopping
They
about right
will.
about now.
They will
And,
be
uh,
moving.
Yeah,
tomorrow.
they're gonna.
They will be moving.
I feel
so
like it's gonna
just
be
very
magic
essential.
tomorrow,
Yeah.
especially that knowing that my buck was starting to
push does.
following a doe and
The one I jumped this evening was
with the doe.
bedding a doe.
I think tomorrow and the next day are probably going to start getting pretty spicy.
And just driving in. Remember, we saw that doe up on her feet, at 3:30
earlier. Yeah.
earlier to where it's like, okay, like they're going to be moving. They're going to have to. They're going to have to move tomorrow. It's going to get cold. They got to get up. They got to eat.
So you hear people talking about every podcast I listened to for the last 2 weeks is, hey, go get in a rut funnel. Go get in a place near doe bedding. Are you guys getting in rut funnels? Or are you getting in places that funnel movement? Or where are you guys going to be sitting the rest of the week? Maybe that's somebody that's listening.
Well, I mean, Mason killed his kind of overlooking some tall grass, more in the open stuff, not necessarily down in a drainage, down in a funnel.
You were in a drainage, right?
There was a big drainage on one side of me and a small drainage on
But
the
mixed in
on the
with
other
that
side. But
tall-
I
So it's
the-
more
which
of
is
a-
bedding.
I didn't know that drainage was there. I knew that there was one in the area, but in the dark, I had no clue that it was there.
Oh, so
The only reason I stopped there is because I knew it was getting thicker, the woods, and I was like, I wanted to stay open because I knew that if they were starting to chase or follow does or whatever, that they probably weren't going to be in anything thick.
So you were hunting a micro wind saddle drainage,
Shut the
upside down, spindy bendy
Correct.
hunt thermal zone hub scrape.
That's correct.
Okay. Hell yeah, dude. I've heard those are good spots on,
Mm-hmm.
good stuff. So you're going to be hunting in somewhat of a drainage, right? I mean, it's just a good topography feature that's going to funnel movement.
And
Near
basically
bedding.
everything else is relatively steep. It's not super steep, but right here on this particular one, it's like it follows this finger of trees and it plateaus, and it's like super easy transition for maybe a 25-yard stretch, like widthwise going all the way down. And that's exactly where I jumped the bedded buck and doe. And I kind of went over there to the bed a little bit because it was by some like shrubby, I don't know what kind of plants they were, just hard shrubby stuff. And I kind of peeked over there where they were bedded, and
You laid down in the bed with them too, didn't you?
basically
Just
yeah.
to get their level and smell.
Mhm.
The thermals.
Yeah. I looked over there and like all those shrubs were like twisted and just mangled and broke off. And I was like, he either did that this evening or maybe that's just where he likes to push that doe and keep her.
Mhm.
But I want to try to sneak up as close as I can to that little spot.
The main thing is, he's there. He's in the area. At least for the next, he was, so he could be the next day or two. So,
Maybe.
And you never know what's in there.
yeah.
That's what excites me even more. One good one's in there. What else?
Well,
Yeah.
we talked to that guy, and between where Carol and I was hunting, just a magic 187 apparently that he shot.
Was it in there?
It was in there.
No way.
That's what he said.
Man, I knew that was a great spot. Yeah, that's a good spot. Carol, what about you? Where are you hunting, wrapping this up?
So a few years ago, where Jake, the night that Jake killed the booner, I was hunting in this. It's a bowl, so it slopes all the way down. I think there's a tree line to my left, and then a creek to my right, and then it meets a creek down going north to south, and it's just like a straight uphill right there. So it is like, hey, if they're in that bowl, and they walk that tree
Funnels
line,
it.
or they walk that, but it's an open grassy area too. So it'll get, there'll be a bunch of trees down there by those creeks on the tree line, but there's a bunch of open and grass. And I saw deer, this would have been 2 years ago, but I just never went back. That was the night that Jake killed his, and then we drug his deer out. Then, like I said, we didn't go hunting that next day, and then people split up. And when I came back, 2 days later, I hunted back there where Jake killed his, and I never went back there. And I sit there twice, and I saw deer there. Both times I sit there, and I just never went back.
I think this is.
I never tried it again either.
This is the time to be in your spot that looks deery, because it only takes one. It's crazy. You hunt down here for 40 man hours of putting in the tree, and you're hunting for a 30-second encounter. It's crazy.
And that would completely change my attitude.
It'll change your entire outlook the entire next year
Yeah.
if one good 30 seconds. So
Yeah.
it's easy from the outside to say stay locked in, but stay locked in, brethren, and shoot a big one. But everybody that's listening, I hope you guys are shooting big ones, and good luck for this whitetail rut. And it should be a good one. Finally getting a good cold front here, almost to freaking mid-November. But hey, if you guys enjoyed the podcast, make sure to leave us a rating and review. Mason, where can people follow you if they want to see you just tagging out every year since you got this whole bow hunting thing figured out?
Mason Babcock on Facebook, common spelling, and Mason B_43 on Instagram.
All right. Well,
Not father figure.
yeah, you don't want to give him your alt? All
I'm
right.
not giving my PlayStation.
Oh, okay.
All right. Well, go give him a follow. And with that, we'll catch you guys in the next episode.
Jesus loves you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you guys so much for checking out the Hunter's Advantage podcast. If you enjoyed the episode, make sure to leave us a rating and review on Apple Podcast, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you listen to the podcast. Thank you guys so much, and we'll see you in the next episode.